My name is Hanayosa Chusu. I'm 28 years old. I've been married to my husband Itetsu for 2 years, and now I have a baby in my belly. I met him through a friend who recommended that someone who was too serious would definitely be a better match for me, as I was born with an unfortunate disposition. My husband is a very serious person, especially when it comes to money management, and he hates wasting money. He is the kind of guy who put half his salary into savings. However, it wasn't as if he was uninteresting. He was kind enough to take care of me when I was nervous. The story progressed quickly and smoothly, and here we are today. Even after we got married, he came straight home every day instead of playing. We were both working, so housework was almost 50-50, and our married life was going well. But this happiness didn't last long. The incident happened around the time I was on maternity leave.
Hey, don't you think we spend a little too much on food?
Huh? Is that so? At the time, our family's food expenses were about 30,000 yen per month. While I was working, we each had our own income, and we split the rent and utilities, and the person who went shopping would pay for food, so I would often pay more. Since I was on maternity leave, we started paying for food out of my husband's earnings, and he was concerned about the amount of money he had to pay. I showed him the receipts I kept for the household account and told him to remember what was usually on the table in the lunches I made for him, but he looked unconvinced. The next day,
I knew 30,000 yen a month was a lot.
I don't think so. I've been paying for more than half of our food expenses so far. Maybe that's why you think it's a lot. It cost 30,000 to 40,000 yen a month before.
That's what's wrong. We're about to have a baby. We can't afford to waste money, can we?
But we do buy a little better food for not eating out. We can have that luxury, right? And I stopped doing my own savings. I've been saving my savings to pay for the birth.
So, it's only natural for the woman to prepare for the birth expenses, right? Because you're the one who's going to be in the hospital and you're the one giving birth.
Huh? That's true, but it's our baby, right? What's wrong with you all of a sudden?
I can't save money if we spend so much on rent, utilities, and food.
That's just something you're going to have to put up with until I go back to work.
No, you just need to be more thrifty.
I was horrified by the change in my husband's attitude, who had always been sensible and kind. Certainly, his expenses have more than doubled since I've been on maternity leave, and our living expenses have been covered by my husband's income. But it's for the child, and it's not like I'm playing around with the money I've earned myself. I don't know what he's complaining about. Then, a short time later, I received another text from my husband, who had called his parents.
I asked my parents. Their food bill is 20,000 yen a month for a family of 4.
So, are you trying to say that our 30,000 yen is too much?
Yeah, that's twice as many people and less than half the amount. By my parents' standards, we should be able to get by on 10,000 yen a month.
Wait, honey, please think straight. Your family is a farmer, so they don't have to buy rice or vegetables, right? When we visited them before, they were exchanging vegetables with other neighbors for the ones they got too much of. So maybe the only things they buy are seasonings and meat.
That's just an excuse. It's my mom's hard work on frugality paying off.
You say your parents live in a house with 4 people. The grandfathers who live with them don't eat that much, do they? In our house, you're a hard worker and I'm a pregnant woman, right? I think we need to be concerned about the quantity, but also about the quality of what we're eating.
That's another excuse. Just buy good stuff at a cheap supermarket.
The cost of living is different too.
Excuses, excuses, excuses. You're a housewife now. If you're gonna ask me for all my money, you should work harder in the house. Am I wrong?
I'm not cutting corners.
30,000 yen per month for food. If this isn't cutting corners, what is? I'll only give you 10,000 yen a month from now on.
Are you serious?
Of course. How can my mother do it and you can't?
But it's a totally different situation.
I don't want to hear excuses. Also, you live in this house, so you still have to pay some rent and utilities. You're pregnant now, so that makes 2 of you.
After my husband returned home, I explained once again how different the situation was between his rural farm family home and our home in the middle of the city, but he was having none of it. In the end, I only received 10,000 yen per month, starting the following month. And of course, that was not enough at all, so I had to cut into my own savings to cover the shortfall. On top of that, he charged me rent and utilities, and my expenses were mounting even though I had no income. But I had to save money for the delivery, and I had to pay for all the hospital visits, and my savings were disappearing fast. And 2 months later, I gave birth to a healthy baby boy. My husband was very happy at first, but
My wife will pay for the expenses.
it was a little sad that he told that to tell the nurse so I could hear him. Then, I went home to my parents and stayed there for a month. No rent and utilities were collected during that time because neither I nor my child were living there. Although I thought that my husband was a tightwad in these areas, I was still depressed about life after returning home. When I returned home a month later, my husband did not increase our food budget.
Babies don't need money because they don't eat yet.
What about money for milk and diapers?
Women are supposed to pay for childcare.
We split the rent and utilities almost 50-50. Why won't he pay for anything else? Moreover, my husband stopped doing any housework because I was home all day. For a while, I was scraping by on baby gifts from my parents and others, but it was obvious that within a few months I would run out of money. Not a day or two goes by that I don't cry while holding my child, because I have to worry about money and tap the calculator even though I'm floundering with raising a child. After a few months of this situation, I finally ran out of money and began to cut back on my food expenses. However, my milk supply became proportionately worse. My baby became cranky and my sleep time was cut short. But my husband didn't care. I can't do this anymore. I need to do something about the food at least. Half delirious, I contacted my mother-in-law, who's a farmer. Mother, please help me. What's wrong? What happened? I would like you to send me some rice. Huh? What do you mean? Until then, my husband had sent very little in the way of groceries from his parents because he didn't want to owe them anything. But I was at my wit's end. I told my mother-in-law what had happened so far, including that. I was told by my son that you were so particular that you wouldn't eat it even if I sent it to you. That's why I didn't send anything. I never said that. I guess it was something my husband was doing to keep me from being spoiled. No longer a thrifty man, my husband had become a cheapskate who only monitored his wife. I'll get the rice to you right away. And that evening, my mother-in-law came to our house with as much rice and vegetables as she could pack in her car. Here you go. Now put this in the car and go home to your parents. Huh? But then the house. When I got a phone call the other day, my son asked me how much we spend on food. I answered 20,000 yen a month, and that was my fault. I never thought this would happen. I'm really sorry, Hanayo. I'm a farmer, so it's only natural that I'm self-sufficient in rice and vegetables, and the cost of living is cheap. Why can't my son who grew up in my house understand that? I thought so too. He brushed it off as all excuses. I'm going to have to give him a hard time for this. Leave the rest to me. Go home to your parents and relax. When that idiot is sorry, I'll drag him over there. Taking my mother-in-law's reliable word for it, I packed up the rice and vegetables I had received that day and headed back to my parents' house again. My mother-in-law said I could tell my parents what was going on, so I told my concerned father and mother about my husband's behavior and our finances. But when they saw me in a disheveled state, they quickly became angry. 10,000 yen a month for food? That's messed up! Do you live on haze every day?
Women are responsible for all the money for the child? That's ridiculous!
My mother-in-law is going to talk to Itetsu about it. So, can I stay here for a while? Of course!
I'm not letting you leave until that man is sorry!
That day, I ate my first full meal in a long time. The vegetables my mother-in-law gave me were so fresh and really tasty. My milk supply improved so much, and my baby seemed happy. The next day, my mother-in-law called me to say she would visit me in a month. What on earth are they doing? I had my doubts, but anyway, my most important thing right now was to regain my strength and my children. So I put my husband out of my mind and had a stress-free and healthy time. However, 2 weeks later...
I'm so sorry!
Honey? He's already given up. So pathetic.
How hard you've worked all this time! I didn't understand anything! I can't do this anymore! It's too painful! Please, come back!
I asked my mother-in-law, who shrugged her shoulders, what happened. 2 weeks ago.
I'm home! I can't smell any food. Hey, are you cleaning up properly? Your hair is on the floor.
If you care so much, why don't you cook your own meals and clean up after yourself?
Whoa!
Welcome home.
Mom, what are you doing in our house? Where's Hanayo?
She's gone home to her parents.
What?
I heard you were putting all the housework on her, who was already having a hard time raising a child. And on top of that, you only gave her 10,000 yen a month for food?
Because you said it was 20,000 yen a month for the four of you.
Well, why don't you try it then? Give me your wallet.
Huh?
It's the beginning of a 10,000 yen a month lifestyle. Of course, mine included.
Huh? What?
You told Hanayo to do it. You can do it too, right? Don't worry, I'll take care of the housework. So my husband has been cooking by himself for a while. In order to keep my expenses down, I had to go to various supermarkets and buy the cheapest ingredients from each one, and then use my own savings to make ends meet. My husband, however, had no idea which supermarket had the cheapest prices, so he said it was a time saver and he got it all at one supermarket. For the first week, he bought vegetables and meat and made stir-fries and other dishes. But as it became harder and harder to balance work and family, he gradually began to rely on instant and frozen foods. But each time that happens, oh, microwave food again? Hanayo was thinking of your health. I heard she made you food every day. Make you food instead? Can't manage your work? Are you stupid? Hanayo was both working on meal duty before she got pregnant. She was taking care of you while she was raising your child. Remember? Why don't you at least take care of your own meals? The husband's mother continued to be sarcastic with him, and after 2 weeks of living on 10,000 yen for a month, which was originally planned to last a month, the husband reached his limit both financially and emotionally. Do you understand how hard it was for me?
Yes, of course.
How did you come to be so reckless?
Actually, I'm not doing so well at work. I had to act like a man at home to keep my pride.
You're just taking it out on her. So pathetic.
I'm sorry.
This child is yours and mine. I want to raise our child properly together.
Okay.
I'm sorry I didn't notice about your work. I'll try to listen to you from now on, so don't hold it in and talk to me, okay?
Hanayo, will you forgive me?
Are you sure, Hanayo, that you want to be so lenient? He might do it again. If that happens, I'll leave him with you again. Okay, I'll be in charge.
Give me a break, Mom!
Now that I knew the reason, and my husband seemed sincerely sorry, I decided to forgive him this time. From then on, my husband was responsible for living expenses until I returned to work, and I got 70,000 yen a month for food. The reason why the amount of money from him is a little high is because my mother-in-law advised him to let me use the extra money as an allowance for my hard work. I thought my husband would be disgusted, but he rather agreed that refreshment is important for childcare. And I laughed a little, thinking that he must have been really scared of my mother-in-law. He is now helping me with the housework as before, and life is so much more comfortable. Now that the house is settled, apparently my husband's business had started to turn around as well. It was a case that made me realize how important it is to have a happy family. I'll try my best to be a mother with a heart of gold like my mother-in-law.